Hey, it's our second lesson for the week. Instead of starting something new with circles, we are just going to go over circumference and area of circles. So that will be your next IXL due this week. Let's go over circumference first. So if I have a circle and I take the diameter of the circle, and that's the diameter. Remember, we could take the diameter, we did this with a piece of string, and you could wrap it around the circle about 3 times and a little bit more. So we discovered that it took 3.14 diameters to go all the way around the circle. So that's your circumference. Pi, which is 3.14 times your diameter. Okay, so that's one version of the formula, pi times diameter. Or also remember that if I know the radius is just half of the diameter. So I would double the radius and then multiply it by pi to get the same thing. Okay. The area formula, I'll write up here, is pi times radius squared. So we also did an activity with this where we figured out what the area of a circle was. Let me box these in if you need to come back and look at these. Area is pi times radius squared, and then circumference, you can use either one of these. Okay, first example. The radius of a circle is 4 inches. What is the circumference? So since I know radius, I'm going to use the circumference formula that has radius in it, which would just be 2 pi r. So 2 pi, and then I would multiply that by my radius, which is 4. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and simplify that. 2 times 4 is 8, and then that would be multiplied by pi still. So my answer would be 8 pi. They want me to leave my answer in exact format. So instead of converting this into a decimal, like typing 8 times pi in your calculator, just leave it like that. So you would just type in 8 and then you would select pi for your answer. All right, moving on. So now they gave me the diameter. You could still use the radius formula if you wanted to, but I would just use the circumference formula with diameter in it because I know pi times diameter is also circumference. My diameter is 8, so I would just multiply 8 times pi, and that would be my answer. Next question. Okay. This time they tell me the diameter, but they want to know what's the area. So there's only one formula for the area of a circle, and that's pi r squared. So I can't use diameter in this formula. I need my radius. So remember that my radius is half of the diameter. So if my diameter is 18, that means my radius would be half of that, which would be 9 feet. So let me plug this in to my formula. My radius is 9, so I would have pi times 9 squared. Then let's go ahead and simplify. 9 squared is 81, and I would still multiply it by pi. So just like the other problems, I would leave it in exact pi format and not get a decimal answer. For this problem, we have to do a little bit more work. They tell me the circumference is 14 pi inches, and it wants to know what's the area. Well, I know the area formula is pi r squared, and circumference is pi times diameter, or 2 times pi times radius. So since I know my circumference is 14 pi inches, I can set that equal to my circumference equation, and then I'm going to work backwards to solve for the diameter. So I'm trying to isolate D, or quarantine D if you would say these days. I need to divide both sides by pi. So pi over pi is 1, so it's eliminated. I would just be left with 14 equals the diameter, which would make sense. If my circumference was 14 pi, that means the diameter was 14. So all the way across here, my diameter is 14 inches. Now I just need my radius so I can plug it into my area formula. So let me switch colors. My radius would be half of the diameter, so this would be 7 inches. And then just plug it into your area formula. So I know the area now would be pi times my radius, which is 7 squared. So this would give me 49, because 7 squared is 49, times pi. And once again, just leave it in that exact format, 49 pi. All right, last example. This time we know the area of a circle is 9 pi square centimeters, and we want to know what's the diameter. So here's my area formula again, pi r squared. I know if I could find the radius by working backwards, then I would just have to double it to get my diameter. So I know my area equals 9 pi, so I'm going to set it equal to my area formula, because that's what my area is. And then work backwards to isolate r. So I'm going to divide both sides by pi. Pi over pi would eliminate the pi, and I would be left with 9 equals r squared. So the inverse of squaring r would be to take the square root. So I would need to take the square root of each side to figure out what 1r equals, and that would leave me with 3 equals 1r. So my radius is 3, but I can't stop there. They want what is the diameter. So if my radius is 3 centimeters, that means my diameter would just have to be double that. So I would double my radius to get 6. So my final answer would be 6 centimeters. All right, that's it for this IXL. Have a great day.